Okay, well, let's get started on today's topic. Today, I'm going to be going over with you guys the statement and finance charge features inside of Enterprise. Okay, so on today's topic, as I told you guys, we are going to talk about the functions inside of QuickBooks for statements and finance charges. You know, I'm also going to tell you guys about the purpose of them, why they're important, why we would recommend using them. So let me open up my sample file. Let's kind of get talking about them. So first, let's talk about the statements itself. So when you think about your open accounts receivable, I'm going to do it in summary for this. In this case, it's really good. I don't have anything past due, but you've got your different buckets of what is due. So we've got our 0 to 30, 31 to 60, 61 to 90, and then over 90 days. I'm going to change this date so that we can see a difference. So I've got everything sitting in 90 days. Of course, that's not good at all. We definitely don't want to be functioning that way, but sometimes our clients need reminders. Sometimes they forget to pay within the agreed terms. And so a statement will allow them to see the activity on their account. Okay, so sometimes statements are called an account statement or a billing statement. And basically the purpose of it is just to provide a customer with a clear record of their outstanding balances, any payments received, and any new transactions. So what this is going to give is full transparencies. Your customers can see exactly what they owe and why. So this way, this, again, is going to help with cash flow. We're making sure that our customers are paying timely. So there's no confusion on their part of what is due, when it's due. This also can help build some trust. So if you send out regular, well-structured statements to your customers, this is going to reinforce that your business is organized and reliable. And this helps them if they are having some cash flow issues, if they are, kind of trying to figure out who do they owe. By providing that statement, you're staying up on top. You're keeping, your invoice to them at the forefront to make sure it gets paid. Okay, so sending those is that reminder, encouraging timely payments for your customers. And again, it's going to reduce what we have sitting out here and our aging on our books. Okay, so let's kind of talk about the process for statements itself. So if we come here to our customers and we come down here to our, I saw this today. I've never seen this. I've never functioned this. I don't have any clients that use this, but I thought this was pretty cool. You can actually enter a statement charge. So if you have to continually send statements to your customers, you can actually charge them for that. It looks like just a regular register. You can see that you can create the date, you can have it linked to an item, you can do a rate, but I thought that was pretty cool. Here's your customer up here. So really something that I like when I find little nuggets that I don't see and don't regularly use. So coming down here to customers, and what we're going to send is we're going to do create statements. Okay, so when you select create statements, you can see that you've got your statement date. You can tell it the period that you want the statements to run, and then you have some options. So you can choose to do all open transactions as of the statement date. You can also say just include statements that are over 90 days. So this would reduce the amount of paper or emails if your client isn't past the 30 days. And you kind of decide, some clients, they need that reminder by the 15th if they're due in 30 days, or if you really are focusing on everyone that's past due for your net 30 terms, you can choose that. You can also select customers. So say you have a group of customers and it's just this small group that they constantly forget to make payments. You can actually do it for certain customers. So I love that it gives you this options. I can see choose all customers. I can choose multiple customers. And you can see that I've got my drop down. I can type in a search if I knew who that customer name is, and it's going to just put a check by the ones that I want. I can do it for one customer. So if I just need to send it, I have that one customer past due. This is pretty cool too, a customer type. So if you just send statements to, for example, a retail type of customer, at your customer setup, you choose the customer type, and you can choose it by the customer type. And preferred send method, you can choose that. Okay. Coming over here, you have a standard template for your statements, but you can customize it. So you can come in here and you can create your own statement template that you want your customers to see. Okay. You can say create one statement per customer, or you can do it per job. So that way, if you want it broken down, if you've got different locations and you want every location or job to be on a different statement, you have that option. You can also put the details. So sometimes you want just kind of more of a summary where it's just the date, the reference number, and the amount, but you can also put the actual invoice details on the statement. Okay. You can print statements by billing zip code. We can print due dates on the transaction. That way, that allows your customer to see if you're choosing to do all transactions that are open. It shows the customer which ones are due on which date. And then this is really great. You can actually go a step and say, these are the ones I don't want you to create a statement for. So of course, we wouldn't want any that have a zero balance. We don't want a statement for that. Or maybe any balance that's less than $100. So you can choose that. And of course, we would want a statement for no activity. And next, we're going to talk about the finance charge. So I'm going to go over that with you. But let's just go ahead and let's choose one. And I'm going to come back here to see who we have open. So let's do our Dunnings. And let's look at them so that way we can see an example. And let's look at a preview. So right now I have show invoice item details. And I'll show you how it's going to look with no details. So you can see here on my statement that it's giving them per invoice the actual items that were purchased, the quantity, and the cost for each. And it's showing them each detail for their outstanding invoices. And it shows them where it is, where it falls in the bucket, and what their total due is. And I'll just show you guys the difference if we said don't show the details. Let's look at that one so you can see the difference. So on this one, you can see same statement, same amount due, but we remove the details. So now it's just the reference number, the date, and the amount per invoice. Okay, so you guys will know what's better. To me, I would always start with the summary. And then if you have customers that say, what did we purchase? We need a copy of it. The detail one might work better. Okay, so next I want to talk to you guys about payment reminders. So this came out a couple of years ago. And if we come in here under preferences, you'll see that it's a default preference under your payment reminders. So even though it's set up as a default, it's not actually active until you set them up. So you can see that you can get prompted at 10 o'clock for them to send, and how frequent. You can decide how often you want the payment reminders to be sent. Let's go to our payment reminders. This is also found here and under here. And we're going to go there and we're going to look at this. Okay, so since we're here, we're going to go in there and we're going to set up. And so the first thing you have to do is set up a schedule. Okay, so you want to set up what is your group of payment reminders, who needs those. And I'm going to pick a new schedule because we haven't ever done it. I'm going to name my schedule, and maybe I name it, I'm going to do retail again. Okay, so I'm going to select my customer group. I don't have a customer group set up yet, so I'm going to add a new one. I have to add the group name, and I'm going to use the same thing. Okay, and now I'm going to choose who's going to be in that group. So you can see I've got some options. I can choose it by the customer type, the rep. I can choose it by the open balance, whatever it is that I want. In this, I'm going to choose customer type. And I'm going to say which customer types, and I'm going to say equals. And I have 3 different values, and I'm going to choose the retail. So for this customer group, I'm saying any customer type that is set up in equals retail, I want them added to this group. Okay. Now, these are all the customers that fall in there. So QuickBooks is saying it is 9 customers that fall in that group. Here's the really great thing is you can check this box to say add any new ones that also are based on those fields. So if I create a new customer and I link it to my retail customer type, they will automatically get added to this group of payment reminders. I don't have to go and add them. So I think that's a really great feature. Okay, so now my group is created and they will automatically get, oh, I just told you guys, Beth, sorry. It's saying, hey, we're automatically going to add or remove based on the fields. Just what I told you guys. Okay, so now we've got our retail reminder. We can come in here and I'm going to say add my reminder. And now I can say how often. So I've got my breakdown for every week, every month, every quarter. I can do my statement period, and I can say current. I can say all to date, current fiscal year, whatever it is that I want for that statement. I can say generate statements for. Of course, I would say open only or overdue. Maybe you only want them to get that reminder for anything overdue. And then you got to tell it, well, how overdue, how many days. So maybe I just say 5 days overdue. I want them reminder. And again, what's really great is you can send the invoice details in this reminder. So you can send the details, a memo, or the due date, whatever you would like. I'm just going to put item detail and due date. And then here's that where you can customize your template. So you can use the standard one, or I can go and customize it and send it. I can also customize my email template for what that looks like. Okay. And then here's that to generate a statement for each customer group. Okay. Oh, so I need to enter a number of days. What did I not? Oh, I'll just say one. Oh, so they don't have a template. Okay. So that is how we set up payment reminders. So sometimes those work instead of needing to send out all the statements. So you guys will decide, maybe it's both of them. Maybe your clients need both of those. Okay, so I'm going to just cancel that. Yes. Okay, so now let's talk about the finance charges. Okay, so finance charges are a way to, when you constantly, a customer doesn't pay, you sent the statement, you're sending these reminders, and they are still not paying in a timely manner, you can now start including finance charges. Okay, so this is going to help in both aspects. One, it's going to be a financial benefit because the hope is that this will get them to change their behavior and start paying timely. So it'll help in the cash flow aspect of things, but you're also, by charging these fees, you've got the income of the finance charges. Okay, so doing this, the hope is, of course, it's going to be the incentive to get your customers to pay timely. So, at the end of the day, you don't want to charge a finance charge. You want them to pay within the terms because you are basing your financials and your cash flow on what you see on the books, what you're expecting to get in receivables. Okay. So, kind of looking at, I want to talk to you guys about setting up finance charges when it comes to your different options about them. So finance charges are set up as a company preference. So you will have to be in admin and single user mode to make this change. So let's go ahead and let me show it to you. So if we go up to edit and we go to preferences, we go to company preferences, we have one that is called finance charge. Okay, default, of course, is 0 is what it has it set up. But you can set up to say, what is your annual interest rate? What is the minimum dollar amount that you want charged for a finance charge? And then how many days of a grace period do you want to give them? Meaning that if the due date is 30 days, how many days after the 30 days due date do you want this finance charge to be incurred? You will choose a GL account. So where do you want these dollars when you invoice your customer, create a finance charge? What is the revenue account that you want affected? In this sample file, they're using an other income account for interest income. I like that because this is not a standard income that you would expect on your P&L. So having it below the line as an other income item is a good idea. You can also assess finance charges on the overdue finance charges. So this is kind of, to me, if you're at your wit's end, your customer's not paying, you're charging finance charges, and now you're going to take it a step forward and you're going to charge finance charges on the actual finance charge invoice. Okay. And then, of course, you have your option of when you want to calculate the charges. More than likely, of course, it's going to be by the due date. It wouldn't make sense to do by the invoice date if you're giving your customer terms. Okay. Mark the finance charges as to be printed. This would allow you to print in mass. You can also, most people today do email, so you can email instead of printing. Okay. So let's come through. Let's actually go through the process of doing a finance charge so that you can see what it looks like. So kind of looking at that under customers, we have assess finance charges. So it comes up here. I'm going to have to change my date because what it does is it populates everyone that they would recommend that you charge finance charges to based on your customer, like what we put in the preferences. So of course, let me change my date so we can see some activity. Okay, so we have here where, again, this is going to be our template. It is named finance charge. We can change this and customize it. That's going to be under list, and that's going to be under templates. And these are all of the customers that they are saying based on their overdue balance that we would charge a finance charge. So it's taken the amount of the balance and it's charging that percentage. And this is the amount of what the finance charges would be. But you get to, decide. So this little check is saying these are the ones I recommend. I can uncheck and I can choose to not charge finance charge to a customer if I didn't want to. Okay. We can come here and we can see collection history. So if I select, for example, our Dunning pool, let's choose this one and we can look at the collection history. This is just showing they just have one invoice outstanding. So collection is going to show you all of the activity that they have outstanding on their account. You can see in the case of this one, it's showing I have a journal entry, an invoice, and a credit memo. So anything that is outstanding is what is going to populate on that report. We can look at our settings. This is going to take you directly back to that company preference so you can see where is it getting this information from. Okay. And then we can say assess the charges. So if we go ahead and we choose assess the charges, I'm going to unmark mine to be printed. We're going to assess the charges and it's going to say, this transaction is more than 30 days in the future. Are you sure you want to make the change? That is because, again, my date that I changed it to, and I'm just going to say yes because I want you guys to see it. Okay, so you see it came right back around to my open AR. If I go, like, let's go to my customer center, for example. Let's look at our big city was one. Today, okay, so what I wanted to show you guys, so I selected one of the customers that we did the finance charge for. You can see it did create it as an invoice and it populated its own number sequence, finance charge 1. And if we open it up, we can see that our item is finance charge. This item is mapped to that other income account, and it shows that they charged it based on this invoice that is overdue. So it gives them the information of why it was charged, so your customer can see that. It's just like a standard invoice where I can email it just like you do standard. If you want to look at it to see what your customer sees, this all goes back to that template setup, but you can see that they see the description where it's finance charge on the overdue balance, and it gives them the details. Okay, so kind of just talking about it again, when it comes to those two, items, I really like both of these features. They're really great when it comes to the collection side of your AR side of things. There's a lot of value, again, in the statement side of things. It's giving transparency to your customers so they know exactly what they owe and why. So this reduces disputes, confusion. This is also going to, in my opinion, help with more timely payments by introducing a finance charge. No one wants to incur an extra charge, so this will help with cash flow when it comes to being able to see and get what you're expecting. Okay, so again, prompt payment, they have the documentation so they can see exactly what they owe. You've got an extra revenue stream when it comes to the finance charge that you didn't have before, but again, our goal is the incentive for a timely payment. Okay, I'm going to hop over to any questions before I let you guys get back to your day. 1 second. Let's see what we got here. We have one question. Let's see if I can click on it. Oh, goodness. It says, well, I can't click on it. I can see it. Okay, so one of them says, the invoice for 17,535 on the 17,250, that doesn't make sense. Why isn't there an invoice for only the finance charge piece? Why isn't there an invoice for only the finance? Let's see. So the invoice, here's the original invoice. So this is the outstanding invoice already. And then it's charging what's past due, and it creates a separate finance charge invoice. I hope I'm answering that. The question says, why isn't there an invoice for only the finance charge? Think, if I'm understanding right, that they're asking why is there one invoice instead of separately. I apologize, I'm not understanding the question. Shipping charge. Goodness, guys, I apologize. It will not let me pop it up. There we go. Okay, fine. Okay, so first one says, what cell drives the overdue date? It should be on your customer setup. So inside, when you create a customer, you can set up either a default for the terms, so that in this case, it's saying all of their invoices should be net 30, but also when I create an invoice itself, I can choose the payment terms here so that I have different options. Okay. So statement charges are used for adjustment. Client unhappy with shipping charge, you can give them $100 off. You could, oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, you could use that to give them $100 off. That's a good idea. I like that for the statement charges. And then someone said, remind folks that they may need to check to determine if finance charges are legal in their jurisdiction and what the max rate is. Good call out. Good call out. And then for reminders, can I create a group for my trouble customers that I select rather than broader categories as listed? Yes, you can. So on your payment reminders, I can, when I create my group, I can choose, and I'm just going to say, we'll call this, has to make it easy. So I can choose to say my open balance. I can choose, and then I can say my open balance, and I can say greater than, so I could do it by a dollar amount. If you're asking if you can choose a customer group, you can't do that with the reminders, but you could do that with the statements and do it just for a group of customers where you can select each one. Okay. Oh, and then someone said they want to see the journal entry for the, yes, want to see the journal entry for the finance chart. So let's go to that. Okay, so we are hitting accounts receivable, and then we went ahead and credited our interest income. Okay, you guys, we are right at time. Thank you so much for all the questions. If I didn't answer what you were looking for, please reach out to me. I can follow up with some more information around the statements or the finance charges. Again, thank you guys so much. I love getting to participate and share with you guys each week. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.